Welcome back to our series, Why Does God Allow Us to Struggle? In our last episode, we explored how hardships can teach us compassion for others. Today, we'll dive into another profound lesson, how struggles help us develop humility and remind us to rely on God rather than our own strength. Let's look at a few key verses that reveal God's purpose behind this lesson. We begin with 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9, where Paul shares a powerful truth, but he said to me, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Paul was dealing with his own thorn in the flesh, a struggle he couldn't overcome on his own. In response, God told him that his grace was enough, that even when Paul was at his weakest, God's power would be strongest. This verse reminds us that our struggles can help us recognize our limits and lean on God's strength instead of our own. It's in our moments of weakness that God's grace shines brightest, reminding us that we don't have to handle everything alone. Next, let's look at James 4 verse 6, which tells us, God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. When life is going smoothly, it's easy to start believing we're in control, but challenges humble us and bring us back to a place of dependence on God. It's a reminder that we need God's guidance and strength every day. When we approach God with humility, acknowledging our need for Him, we open ourselves to receive His grace and wisdom. Struggles are sometimes a wake-up call, showing us that we're not as self-sufficient as we might think. Finally, let's look at 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 7, which says, "Cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you." God doesn't want us to carry our burdens alone. In fact, He invites us to cast our worries, fears, and struggles onto Him. This verse reminds us that God cares deeply about our hardships and is ready to help us if we let Him. When we face challenges, God uses them to draw us closer to Him, teaching us to trust Him more fully and to lean on His strength, rather than trying to handle everything ourselves. Through these verses, we see that struggles can be powerful teachers. They remind us of our limits, humble us, and draw us closer to God. Instead of facing life's challenges on our own, we're invited to rely on God's strength and to cast our cares on Him. Struggles can actually deepen our relationship with God as they open our hearts to His grace and love. In our next episode, we'll continue our journey by exploring how God uses struggles to refine our character. Just as gold is purified in the fire, our challenges can help shape us into the people God created us to be. I encourage you to join us again as we uncover more of God's purpose in our hardships. Remember, you're not alone, and each struggle can bring you closer to His heart.